Right. Thanks everybody for joining us again for another WKS Zoom podcast. This time I'm with David Josan. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm great, Craig, in these strange times. And how are you? Good
I'm
to see
all
you again.
right. Yeah, I'm all right. Thank you. Thank you. Would you like to start by sort of saying how you actually got into music in the first place?
Well, I've written songs all of my life, but for most of my life, I kind of took a rational decision early on. I decided earning a living was more important than had more chance of doing that somewhere else than being a rock star. So I launched into business, and that sopped up 30 years. So through all that time, I wrote songs as a spare time hobby. But then I sort of shed that business 3 years ago and liberated and decided, okay, now I can try and be an artist, and it's just great fun, and so I've brought out a lot of those songs from the past and a few more besides, and I'm kind of working on about a dozen songs at the moment. But I've got this concept because I love making things as well, and I love art and sculpture.
Right.
So I've got this rather wacky concept of combining fine art and song to tell a story, and what I describe as being a song artist, if you like.
Okay.
And that's where this piece comes from, which I can share with you if you like later on.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it in a nutshell. And I'm kind of, and then of course, more than a year ago, COVID got in the way, so that kind of launched me into this doing stuff at home, which is okay. There's lots to do, having lots of fun, but there's a long way to go yet, and lots of fun to have.
Brilliant. Okay, so you've said you're going to sort of play two tunes with a little bit of something in between for us. Is that right?
Yeah, well, if you like, the first song I'd like to play you is called Populist Playground, which is connected with this sculpture in the background. And the best way to give that context is to give you a little tour of this. It only takes a minute, so it gives the song context. Would you like me to do that?
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
Okay, so what I got to do is I just got to grab this remote mic and grab this wobbly webcam, and I can show you. So as you can see, it's a water feature, and if you trace the source of the flow to the top, you see that it's this hand held discreetly over the top bowl, which belongs to this lead character in the piece, this tweeting character. And the chorus in the song asks the question, who'd climb a tree just to have a pee? And if you go down to the bottom of the sculpture, we have the understudy to the main character. And the lyric to the song is written around the base. That's a very brief tour, but here's the thing. If you go to my website, davidjosan.com, there's a virtual tour, which I'm really proud of, because it's kind of uses the software that estate agents uses, and I've never seen anybody use that for a sculpture before, which was a real win for me. And there's a professional music video, which I made with a friend of mine, Ben Simon of Brighton Media. And there's even a story of how the whole thing was conceived and put together, all on my website, but streaming from YouTube. Let me put this back, and I'm back with you.
Brilliant.
So, the song, shall I play the song?
You can. It might be an idea to, if you can, is the water fountain...
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
There you go. That'll go away. Thanks for reminding me.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, play the song. Brilliant.
Well, the song, here's the thing. The song is more of a tribute to democracy. And the chorus
We still, sorry,
is
David.
like a...
David, sorry,
Yeah?
still have the water. No, it's stopped now.
It's stopped now, yeah.
The slow trickle.
You might get the odd drip now and again, but it'll go away.
Got you. Yeah.
So this chorus to the song is like a satirical account, a little bit of fun poked at the sort of some of our political leaders who've flirted with populism over the last 4 decades, leading up to what I call the year of peak populism in 2020, when the champion of populism, as I think of him, sort of came unstuck. And the other thing, a lot of artists don't like doing political themes, and I can understand that, because you can end up alienating people as well as you can entertaining them. But the point I'd like to make is I'm this is not intended to be partisan. It's not left or right Republican or Democrat, Conservative, Labour. It's just about populism, which has been led us some strange years this last 4 years. So, Populist Playground. All around the world we've got elections, people to choose to show us the way. This is the chance to make corrections. They ain't gonna be perfect, no way. They ain't no different to me and you, 'cause they only got a job to do. With some we get along just famously for a while, but others we just can't take too seriously. But who climbed the tree just to have a? Well, let me see, we got a Bagel Regan had a thing about Maggie. Big Bill caught his in a zip. Georgie Porgy tripping over his lip. Who was the chump who jumped the whole bunch? Who was the champ in the Populist Playground? In the Populist Playground. Tolerance, compassion, understanding. That's what the world needs to see. Sometimes we all just need some grounding. That's what you call democracy. But who climbed the tree just to have a? Well, let me see, we got a phony Tony quick to build a big stash. Obamacare burned a whole lot of cash. Dave C left a hell of a mess. Teresa may have been through in for out. Who was the chump who trumped the whole bunch? Who was the champ in the Populist Playground? In the Populist Playground.
Superb.
Thanks.
Yeah, very good.
It's a bit of fun, Craig, you know?
Yeah, I get it.
I hope people will see it that way.
Okay, so let's a little bit about your songwriting then. How long and what's the process for you to, create that?
Usually, my songs come music first. That's what's most important to me. And it's usually a chorus or a hook line that comes into my head. And very often it doesn't have a subject. It doesn't, there's no lyric to go with it. And I'll put to them one side, and then another day I'll think, I want to write a song about this, and it goes, and the two come together. And then from the chorus, it typically works back to creating the structure of the songs, creating the verse, and typically a middle eight, because I like to go with I think human psychology is used to that structure, or an instrumental break. And then sometimes I have a subject that I want to write about, and it sort of sits there in the back of the head. And one day I'm walking in Ashdown Forest, and the whole thing comes to me in a chorus and a line. I think of a line and a chorus, and it works back from that. And thirdly and finally, very often ideas come to me in the middle of the night. I wake up with a ding and I can't sleep, and I think, I must, and I have to put the light on and write it down, or even just sing the tune into the sound thing on my phone, because otherwise I know it'll be gone in the morning. There's a number one hit there, and it's gone forever.
Yes. Brilliant. So, which sort of musicians then do you admire?
Well, I guess first I'd have to quote the musicians who influenced me very early on, singer-songwriters like James Taylor, John Martin, and in a slightly same era but different genre, Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull, because I was really inspired by his guitar style. And my early guitar playing was modelled on that. Really, I love what he did. I know he's known for standing on one foot and playing a flute, but his acoustic guitar, was what came out to me. Yeah, more recently, I guess I really like Ed Sheeran's work because I'm so I can't claim to be influenced by him because I don't have his vocal range or his virtuosity, but so inspired by where he's taken the looper, and it's on my my lockdown to-do list to play with a little looper that I've got in the corner of my studio beckoning me.
Brilliant. I did. I reluctantly actually went to see Ed Sheeran with my wife. She dragged me along. And to be honest, no, I wasn't a fan then, but to hear him play live at Wembley and what he can do, just him and a loop, is unbelievable.
Well, what impresses me is that he's advanced all that technology, but he can do it live.
Yeah.
That's I've not seen him live. I'd love to actually. Yeah. And I'd probably be the oldest rocker in the audience, but
don't know. There was a few there, mate. I'll tell you, there was a few.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Did you say you were going to play us another tune?
Yeah, if I may. Not least because I'd like to show you something completely different, just in case everybody thinks I'm a political satirist, which I'm not really. That was just a one-off. And this I would describe as surrealist fantasy, but it was inspired. So I got to retune. It was inspired by a childhood memory, because when I was a kid, I lived in on top of a windswept hill, overlooking the Cornish village of Tregadillet, which is just outside Launceston, or Lanston as the locals know it. And my bedroom window looked down over a field, and at the bottom of the field was the first dwelling of the village. And of no great consequence, until one day something changed, because I noticed that every night there was a beacon of light shining out of the one window on my side of the dwelling. And even from a distance, you could make out the shape of somebody sitting back in this armchair, silhouetted against the black and white flickering light of an old 1960s TV set. And one night, my childhood curiosity got the better of me, and I snuck down the hedge to take a closer look. And what I saw was this Desperate Dan type character lounging in this armchair, stroking a black and white cat on one side and holding a huge mug of tea on the other side, watching this black and white TV set. And this pattern of behaviour repeated every single night until one night something changed, because there was a knock on the door. It was the police. Turns out this guy's an escaped convict from Dartmoor prison. And, this is an account of what happened on that fateful night. It's called Man on the Run. I never thought that I would ever get caught. I simply walked home, never gave it a thought. Put on the kettle, made a nice cup of tea. Stroked the cat as I watched the TV. That's when it started, the pounding on the door. Open up in the name of the law. The cat simply flew across the room. My heart was pumping, boom, boom, boom. I had a vision of my head in a noose. I knew that it was time to cut loose. And that truly was the end of the fun, 'cause that's when I knew I was a man on the run. through the window and over the wall. I was smart enough to slip past them all. Choppers circling over my house, searchlight searching for its cheeky little mouse. I ran around just as fast as I could, down through the houses and into the wood. Sirens and turkey dogs hard on my heels. You've no idea just how scared I feel. Through the mud and the pouring rain, I headed for the station and the midnight train. The man at the station said, "What the hell's going on?" I said, "Haven't you heard there's a man on the run?"
Right, really, really good.
Thank
well,
you.
that can lead me on to one of the questions I've asked several times to different artists, and so what's the most trouble you've gotten yourself into then?
Well, firstly, can I think of anything, and then can I share it with you?
Yes.
Well, I guess there's something that I can think of that's kind of borderline in both cases. When I was a kid in Launceston College, to my shame, one of my classmates had this thing about shoplifting, and every day he used to boast about the most daring shoplift he'd done, the most daring thing he'd stolen from the shop, and he encouraged the rest of us to top it, if you like. And I, to my shame, took up this challenge, and I decided, and to top what he did, I picked on a cowboy hat of all things. You can't really hide a cowboy hat very well, but I managed to do it under my coat, and I sort of snuck out the shop and down the street, and I realised I'd been spotted. And the poor shopkeeper. I mean, as I said, it's a shameful thing to do, and now I was a 13-year-old kid, and he legged it after me. I didn't run. I just sort of grabbed me, and obviously gave me a huge ticking off. And he really put the willies at me because he said, "I know who you are, and I'm going to come and see your parents." And I was petrified for weeks after that, because I thought the guy was going to turn up on my doorstep. Anyway.
Yes.
Shane, it did teach me a lesson. I've never shoplifted since that day.
Brilliant. Superb. So, what have you got any music out there that people could listen to? Or?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's of the 12 songs I'm working on, I'm holding back on publishing a lot of them because I want to do some art to go with it. But there's songs on my website, on SoundCloud, and on all the normal places, Spotify, Amazon Music, all those kind of places. You can get those on my website. Hopefully, you can Google them too, especially Populist Playground, David Josan. You should find that easily. And yeah, listed on my website as well, davidjosan.com.
Right. Have you got anything on YouTube? Any videos? Or?
Yes, not much, but again, it's, as I said, because it's early days. But so I think some interesting things. I've got a really professional music video that I made to go with Populist Playground, done by a guy called Ben Simon of Amelia Brighton with me. We had a couple of actors. We did some miming, and it was a whole load of fun. And I learned, so there's that. It's only a two minute piece, and then there's the story of how this came about. A video that I made myself, which is 7 minutes long, but it's like a little sort of, shall we say, a rock documentary? No.
Brilliant.
It's a sculpture documentary.
Yeah.
But it's got the full length song as the soundtrack behind it. That's the thing. So that's the musical element of it.
Well, what I normally do is I normally tag a couple of videos onto the interview or put it in a section on my page. So I'll find those two and I shall put them in.
Fabulous.
Okay, lovely. So what's next then? What's good question. Depends when we're let out of jail, isn't it, really? But I would like to get out on the road, and I would also like to get some of my work like this one into art galleries. My concept is a combination of the two: exhibit my work, possibly have audio visuals beside the work,
also gig as well, and a kind of a small theatre like setting is better for my style, which is a kind of a storytelling style, if you like, which is kind of, if you my last song that I sang to you, that's typical of the kind of style I'm after. It was a little and here's the thing about my songs, I've never been able to write what's the name, generic lyrics, abstract lyrics, that's the word I'm looking for. I tend to always need to have a story to go with it, and that's why storytelling preamble suits what I do, really.
Brilliant.
But anyway, to answer your question, get back out there, man, as soon as we can.
Lovely. So if you were talking now to a younger version of yourself, okay, what advice would you give yourself?
Interesting. I think what I would say, because for years I suffered from stage fright. I mean, fright of even just standing up there and doing anything. And then once I got over that, I had fright of performing my own stuff, and my goodness, what are people going to think of this? And I think my advice to my younger self was, don't care. And here's the thing. I'd like, as an example, I would like to quote an inspiration in this respect in David Bowie, not suggesting for a moment that I will ever be anywhere in that league, but if you look at his really early stuff, his experimental stuff, when he was just doing mime in theatre as an experiment, it was, to my mind, it was really quite cringeworthy. It was, but see where it went to. You with hindsight, you can see how that led to Spade Odyssey and Ziggy Stardust and all that stuff. He seemed to be fearless about experimentation. So that's my point. My advice to my early self would be, don't care. Just do it, and it'll unfold. If people don't like it, you'll learn and you'll change and you'll evolve and you do something a bit different. But don't be scared to do whatever you want to do.
Great. Okay, final question. I ask this of everybody. Is there anybody you would like to thank for you being here musically now?
Yeah, there's kind of a whole load of people, really. I'll do it as quickly as I can. I mean, I'm thinking, first of all, my mum. I mean, bless her, she had little budget, but she was determined to make me learn piano. So I had piano lessons. I was a typical spotty teenager who had a piano lesson on a Thursday night, and I only practiced on Wednesday night, the night before. But, that led to learning about theory of music, and it got me into music. Anyway, dear old mum is the first, number one. But more recently, so many friends of mine have helped. I mean, Roy Shepard, the guy who did the drums for me on the music video, he's not just a fantastic drummer, fantastic positive guy to work with. He's always so positive about what he does. And Pete and Emily, who were also in that video as bassist and harmonica player, and all the guys. And the thing is, I met all these guys. They've helped me so much at a fabulous inn in Hassocks near Brighton, where musos come every Thursday night before lockdown, of course, and hopefully after lockdown again, to jam. And they're all really accomplished musicians, bit of open mic as well. And I've met so many people there who've helped me progress what I do. And with the sculpture, I've learned so much from a guy called Jamie McCartney, who's a fabulous artist in his own right, but he also has a body casting studio down in Brighton, and he helped me with some of this, some of the hands and arms and all that kind of stuff. And finally, Ben Simon, the guy who did my video Media Brighton. Sorry, I'm giving you a whole credit list here.
No, that's all right.
These guys, they have taught me so much in just the last 18 months, and meeting them and taking what they know on board. Yeah.
Brilliant. David, look, thank you so much for giving me the time in the interview. Absolutely superb.
Thank you, Craig. And can I thank you for doing such a fabulous job of giving artists a way to connect with the world in these difficult times. You are doing an amazing job, mate.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck with everything.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.